Hello, beautiful people. No, I just called you beautiful, so make sure you hit that like, comment, share, subscribe button. I don't know how you hit the comment button, but I definitely appreciate it if you hit that. Now, now, the last time I talked to you guys, it was the day that Bray unfortunately passed away. It's coming out some news about him that prior to his untimely passing, he had a hospital visit and he was suggested a heart defibrillator. If you don't know what that is, it's an external heart defibrillator. If you don't know what that is, I believe it's like a machine that or a device that basically hooks up to your heart or is connected to your heart or is placed over your heart that connects like that sensors when it's like not beating correctly or whatever. For instance, Triple H has one, but he has one internal. Bray Wyatt's was external, which means it was just something he could hook up and fall asleep with. Bray Wyatt unfortunately took a nap the morning of his death, and he didn't wear the defibrillator. It's a sad thing, you know. I couldn't imagine what he was going like. Apparently, he had a doctor's appointment that same morning. Like, I apologize to bring this news to y'all, because honestly, I would have probably just went on with about my life without knowing the details of it. It just sounds terrible. Um, and like I can't again I can't imagine what he was going through that day or just like what he was feeling. I obviously he was going in a positive direction. His father said so. Reports was coming out that he was going in a positive direction. He was actually supposed to be returning soon, but if it makes you think like if he had a defibrillator, how close was he to returning? But maybe he felt great, and just like I highly doubt. Like they said, they found it in the car. So I highly doubt this is the first time he wore it without the defibrillator. Like when he went to sleep without the defibrillator, but this just happened. Like this was just the time, and just so happened to be the day of his doctor's appointment. I would imagine he just like apparently he was just taking a nap, and I'd assume he just wanted to take a nap without being hooked up to a machine. Man, like it's sad. Um, some people look at that as not a way to live. Like my grandmother passed away. Kind of similar, but I believe she had a seizure. She was having seizures and stuff, but she was conscious enough to like not like she didn't want to live that way. She didn't want to live hooked up to machines. And even though Braves was to a lesser extent of hooked up to machines, like kind of having to place that stuff over your heart and stuff before every time before you go to sleep. Maybe I'm just speculating here, but again, like this is just something that it sucks, man. It sucks. It could have been prevented, but also it's like not wearing your seatbelt. Unfortunately, Bray Wyatt went to sleep without wearing his seatbelt, and it happened. Apparently, JoJo, his girlfriend, or fiance, uh, like heard his alarm going off for a while, and when she checked on him, he was blue, and yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like, because when I first heard it, I was like, why didn't he just wear his thing? Why didn't he just, like I was mad at him. But then when I looked it up, the defibrillator, like it's not just something like you can just fall asleep like a patch you could just put on your heart. Like, of course, in hindsight, if you think if we take the doctors as serious as we should, of course we wouldn't mind. We would fall asleep on the floor next to an outlet if we knew how serious it was. But I'm sure he probably didn't. Like, you gotta think, Bray was a big guy. He came up with parents, and he's a third generation superstar. Like he that and his OGs, his family came up in a time where like if you could walk, you go to the ring. So us men, like we don't go to the hospital unless it's like super super serious. And so we're not doing all that because we don't. Again, I'm sure this was not the first time he fell asleep without it. They found it in the car, and he was taking a nap in the morning. So I'm sure the night before he fell asleep without it. But we can Monday morning quarterback it all day and say he should have wore it, but you should wear your seatbelt. You shouldn't text and drive. You shouldn't eat. You shouldn't eat junk food. We all know this stuff, but unfortunately, he didn't. He fell asleep without his seatbelt, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's literally a damn near spot on metaphor. He just fell asleep without his seatbelt, and it sucks. It sucks, but unfortunately, this is the timeline we live in. This is the life that we live in, and he's gone. It doesn't. It hasn't. It's 4 days later. It still doesn't feel real. I miss him so much. I miss, even though he wasn't really on our screens for the better part of 2 years, for almost 2 years, man, I miss him. I miss him so much, man. I just miss, all right, what's next, But also just knowing that I would trade all that in, as a fan, I would trade all that in, man, for a retirement speech. If he could have just retired at least and, fuck this wrestling stuff, man. He got a young child. He got 4 kids, who just don't have and when I say kids, I mean kids. He had 4 children. No older than my little brothers. I don't know a positive spin on this. There's no positive spin on this. It sucks, man. And unfortunately, we could talk about what it could have, should have, but this is the timeline we live in now. And I miss him. I wish he was here, but, I said in the last video, Cody said it before, it never gets easier. You just find better ways to deal with it. Yeah, I wish he was here, man. But I'll ask for the same request as last video. Let me know your favorite Bray Wyatt moments in the comments. Be beautiful, people. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a beautiful day. Make someone smile today or tonight. This video is going up very late. But, yeah, be beautiful, people, man. Have a great night.